Okay, we're going to do some outdoor flying with this helicopter. We did the review last year. It's been a year. I got the helicopter back. Westside had a couple more crashes, so we needed to replace the main gear, which is inside. The helicopter had to be completely disassembled. And then I also replaced a main motor because the motor was burnt out. So I will say that this helicopter is definitely kind of a pain to work on. This time I did not strip any screws. But it was definitely, if you don't like working on things, this is not a good helicopter to buy. You definitely have to have some decent, very thin shaft screwdrivers that are small, Phillips screwdrivers, and then you also just need to have a lot of patience because it took probably about 3 hours to do the replacement of the main gear. And it gets stripped pretty easily. It only takes a couple crashes to strip the main gear. You'll hear it. It'll start sounding different. It won't be smooth anymore. It'll have like a grinding sound. Right now we have a little bit of a stripped tail gear. We're missing one tooth. So once in a while you'll hear it wig out, and that's the tail. It's a little bit windy tonight. We're going to try to fly it though. I will say this, and I'm going to go over to overdubbed audio here once we start flying, because it takes some concentration to fly this helicopter. So here we go. Okay, you're about to see flaw number one with this helicopter. It is a bit difficult to take off, and you really kind of have to pop it up. If you watch some of the other videos out there, you'll see guys dumping it over on takeoff. But once you get it in the air, it is a pretty smooth flyer, as you can see. Right now, you're seeing about as fast forward as the helicopter will go. You probably could push it further, but I would imagine that it would drop like a rock. It really seems to, as you pick up speed, it descends pretty quickly. So you got to kind of watch, just like a collective pitch helicopter, you have to kind of control how far forward you're pushing the helicopter. And I'm really not that confident yet to make it go real fast. It might be able to go a little bit faster, but it doesn't seem to like it either. It seems like once you get up over maybe 4 or 5 miles an hour, the helicopter really wants to, it almost gets destabilized is what I'm looking for, like a coaxial would. It kind of starts to wobble back and forth, and it doesn't like high speed. So it's a better like hovering around the cul-de-sac type of helicopter, which is fine, because that's what I'm doing with it. So here you go again, there's another wonderful takeoff. Skidding along the ground there. Another thing that you'll notice, another flight characteristic, is that the helicopter turns right a lot better than it turns left, and that's because it uses the main rotor to torque left, and then it uses the rear motor and the rear rotor to turn right. So one of them is motor driven, and the other one is done by lowering the speed of the rear motor and allowing the torque of the helicopter to turn it. And here you're going to see, this is about as coordinated of a left-hand turn that I could do. I mean, it's not bad, but it definitely doesn't turn left as easily as it turns to the right. And that's normal with a lot of these tail motor-driven helicopters rather than like the belt helicopters or the helicopters that have collective pitch tail rotors. Those don't do that, but this does because it is not that type of helicopter. So be prepared for that. I would not fly in anything more than 2 or 3 mile an hour winds. This helicopter does start to blow away, and when you try to resist the wind, once again it gets destabilized. So one of the things I'd like to talk about is the Walkera's decision to raise the prices. And they originally, when they were going to raise their prices, they were, it was going to be like a 10 to 20% raise. Well, that's not so bad. The helicopter was like $150, $160, somewhere around there. It was a great deal. But in reality, the percentage of increase in the price, this helicopter is very difficult to find for under $300 at this point. And at that cost level, you're way better off getting something from, I mean, honestly, I would buy like a Blade helicopter, like that new Huey SR that's coming out, or even just a Blade SR, or something different, because that's really expensive for a Walkera helicopter that has brushed motors. And to be honest with you, if you look at the service record on these, on the Walkera brand of helicopters, it's not horrible, but it's not great either. So for me to dump that much money on a very import, no support from local hobby stores helicopter, I don't know. I mean, that's a hard decision to make. So, at $150, this was a great deal. Even at $200, this is a really great deal on a helicopter. But at $300, I'm probably going to look elsewhere, honestly.
But this is a really cool looking helicopter, and as you can see from this video, it flies well outside. I also like the way that it lands. As you can see there, I've only flown this helicopter about 20 times, so it's pretty amazing that I can actually land as well as I can. I really haven't had any or too many landing accidents. It does very well stabilizing out as you get it down close to the ground and kind of prep for landing. And here you can see us flying around higher up, maybe like 20, 30 feet. And with the wind, I brought it back down because I started to get scared. But it looks pretty cool. I'm going to take it up here again, and it's pretty cool looking. So once again, if you're a beginner and you're looking at this helicopter and your mouth is watering and you're going, boy, that thing is cool looking, and man, look at all those cool features, I'm going to tell you to pass on this helicopter. It is not an easy helicopter to fly. I've got a Blade MSR that's got almost 2,000 flights on it. I actually just had to retire it because the main board finally blew, and I don't feel like sinking 70 more bucks into it. But I flew that thing, that MSR, and it was pretty easy to fly, and when I wrecked it, there really wasn't much expense in repair, and it almost wouldn't even get damaged in a wreck. So I think that that's a much better second helicopter or first helicopter to learn to fly fixed pitch on. This helicopter is for an intermediate person. This would be the step right before you go to a collective pitch helicopter. This is your last fixed pitch helicopter. Last but not least, the lights. I know they're way over the top, but you know what? It's always calmer in the evening and at night. So this helicopter adds way more fun because you can go out there in your cul-de-sac or out in front of your house and you can fly this thing, or at your park, in the dark. And the lights are actually bright enough and crazy enough that you don't really lose orientation like you normally would with a helicopter, even that has lights on it. This just has so many lights that it lights the whole thing up, and it's like flying a Christmas tree. So it's kind of hard to lose your orientation. I think that definitely sets this helicopter apart. Thanks for watching.